Canon is another like big creator who is trying out the game for the first time.
Day 3, Blade and
so let's see
Soul
what he
Neo.
got to
I'm
say,
going to give you
right?
a rating right out the gate. This is my first impressions review, so it's not like a review of the actual full game. My rating is as follows. On a scale of 0 through 10, this is something a little bit new because
Give it a 4 out of
usually I
10.
don't give a rating to games, but I'm going to try this for BNS Neo. There's 2 ratings. Rating number 1, what I would rate it as a reviewer if I were trying to be an objective game reviewer. I would give this game a 4 out of 10.
Oh.
I'm being very generous, I feel like. Hard carried by its combat,
Okay, I think it's
but
kind of understandable.
I cannot give this more
At the-
than a 4
at
out
the
of
level
10.
46
The
patch,
best
sure.
phrase to describe this game would be a blast from the past. This is very clearly designed for people that really enjoyed playing this.
Okay, I think it's fair if you don't know what's coming in the futures and your only experience is doing Two of Exiles, is not that cool.
Game and want to get back into it. But if we were to rate this game as a new MMO title compared to the modern day MMOs, I'm being extremely generous. I feel like giving it a 4 out of 10. 0 out of 10, how much fun did I have? Which is the second rating. I would give it about a 6.5. Obviously, very subjective, even more subjective. Even the first rating is subjective, but this is even more subjective because this is just how much fun I had. So you cannot tell me I'm wrong.
Also
about this
think
because
like when your build is not online and you have no idea what you're doing, the game is definitely way less fun also.
You how much fun I had. Okay, so if you're going to argue with that rating, you're essentially arguing me, telling me that I did not have that much fun. Okay, so that's not how that works. 6.5 I would give it, and that's mainly because, again, combat is really good in this game.
Yeah, the combat is really
also,
really
my
good.
experience was a lot better because I had like BNS pros essentially walk me through the game, really hold my hand and help me to understand. There are certain elements that were good, certain elements that were bad. You know, but overall, yeah, I had.
Wait, I'm curious what you
fun
think
playing
is
it.
the bad
Straight
part
up,
about the combat.
I did. I don't think the game is amazing, but I had fun playing it. So let's get into this. Right out the gate, the leveling experience, it's very boring, but it's very nice and convenient compared to other MMOs. As someone that likes to just go through this, I'm not listening to the story, and I just want to get to the end game and experience the loop. And I'm more in line with a vertical progression focus. As that type of gamer, I really appreciated and enjoyed how I could just insta teleport to every single
Is there a
quest
game where you
and
think
get
leveling
right
is
to the
fun,
end.
chat?
You know, I don't have to worry about min-maxing the leveling route. You just do the MSQ, and when you finish,
There's
you're
literally
maxed out.
no
It's as
game I
simple
think
as
where
that,
the leveling
right?
process
Also, I
is
like
fun.
the fact that this game has everything capped at level 36, so you can essentially start doing the end game grind right out the gates. But you know, keep in mind that this review is based off of the level 36 content. It's not based off of the
okay. Like, I think it's fair of probably whatever he's saying, because level 36, like, sucks. Like, doing 10x Two of Exiles, which this is a long-ass dungeon, super boring, no mechanics, it's like, hell, it sucks. If you look at how the game is being played on Korea, it's, like, so different. Right? Like, this is gonna be the boss we're getting, like, soon, right? It's like their combo is so much smoother because of the books, and the boss attack is like a lot more important. There's enraged timer, so like your rotation matter. You can't just like, you know, like slack off for like 20 minutes to kill Two of Exiles. And most importantly, they're starting to introduce you like big mechanics attack. So like the pizza. Somewhere in here there's the pizza. Here? Oh, there's a Farmark mechs here. This is the Farmark mech. It's the same as Hollow Heart, and I think pizza sometimes. Oh, here. Boom. This is the pizza mech where you have to rotate with it. It's very basic, but like this boss is a very like introductory boss. So, you know, right now the game have like no cool end game. So it's understandable. You have to do all of these while doing a combo and stuff like that. That's like the fun part of playing. So right now, this game like don't exist.
45 content. There is more things to come at level 45, which is set to release either next week or the week after. So obviously the content is way more limited up to level 36. Again, this is first impressions based off of the first 36 levels and the current,
I think level 36
current content that's in the game.
It's just the ease
So
player
I'm not
into the
going to
game.
give the game points simply because of content that's upcoming. Certainly not more content that's upcoming a week or two later that I have never experienced. But overall, the questing, or going back to the questing was kind of boring. I also didn't like how the quests were essentially copy pasted. And that could be a little bit unfair because this is a very old game. But again, I'm just kind of putting it up against modern day MMOs because that's what it is. It's 2025. I don't think we should cut it slack or anything like that if we're gonna compare it to other. I feel like we shouldn't give it extra points simply because it's an older game. If that makes sense.
I think that's fair.
It certainly would have been better and more acceptable for like back in the day for its time.
I think if you're competing, if you're a game in 2025,
like
you should compete against other 2025
were
games.
Essentially copy pasted. You know, it was just very repetitive. The new endgame loop, when you get to the endgame, I felt like it was just very confusing for new players. Again, I have the luxury of having.
Okay, I actually think that's true. I think this game is so confusing for new players. Like, you have like no idea what you're doing. Like, when I first played on Korea, after I hit level cap, I have zero clue what I need to be doing too. Like, the game will tell you like, oh, you can go hit this to farm the wheels for your gear. Go hit this to farm the wheel for farm the currency for your wheel. Go do your faction. The game literally don't tell you anything. I think that part really sucks. One of the reasons why I like making videos is because like it's literally unplayable. I feel like. Without tutorial, without someone like telling you what to do. I think that part sucks for sure. I think that's one of the things I actually was had the same thought when I was playing Korea.
Experienced vets really walk me through the game, but not everyone has that. I can't imagine playing this game solo, where a lot of people are playing this game solo with no experience with BNS and being able to figure out what it is you're doing. And it's very difficult to actually come across guide content for this game.
And that's why you subscribe. Okay. No
one's covering it. No one's actually making content around it.
Shameless plug real quick.
There is a website that you can go to that kind of shows you certain things, but I mean, that content only goes so far, and who the hell wants to go to a third-party website, right, to learn the game? It could just be very confusing. It very much seems like it's designed for people.
No, I think he's pretty fair so far.
You know, a great example is the skill system. You have to equip the skills to accessories. You know, how's a new player gonna know how to extract the skill? You know, the game, you can kind of figure out that you put the skill into the accessory, which by the way is confusing. But then, how's a player to know whether or not he can take that or extract it out?
I think that's also pretty fair.
It's gone. All of these
questions that everything he's saying so far, it's like pretty fair actually.
To you, how you actually vertically progress at the end game. What is it?
Did they put a guidebook on F1?
You know the game. You know you need.
I'm gonna be honest. Nobody go ever read guidebook. What? 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 Nobody ever actually read guidebooks. Unless the game like force you to do it, nobody ever gonna read guidebooks. Yeah, you guys are gamer. You guys gotta read. Nice try. But everything he's saying is pretty fair, I think.
Need to do your faction dailies. You craft your weapon, and there's even a system to that, right? And all of this is just unknown. What the hell are Valor Stones? You need to get Valor Stones to buy skill books, which are very important, and that is just a very confusing system. Overall, when you get to the end game and you start working on progression, the TLDR is that it essentially is very confusing for new players, and it's very difficult for a lot of the players to figure out what it is that they need to do. Next point.
I promise you, I feel like even for a veteran player, like people who played the original, it is probably still confusing. I think, how many of you guys in chat like played this game originally before and you're still like, wait, this is so different now. Like, what is this? What does this do? Kind of thing. Like, I promise you, like, even for veteran players, a good amount of stuff is probably still confusing. So I actually do agree with his point so far.
is on my list is the amount of content. The amount of content that is in the game. The content is certainly lacking, but to be fair, it's first week, level 36 is capped. I think it's okay and it's good that there isn't too much content in the game. But as of now, essentially what you're doing is you're just doing your faction dailies, you're doing your world boss farm, and you're farming the same dungeon 10 times. And 10 times farming that, look, I've been doing the end game dungeon for level 36.
Oh,
There is no chance I'm going to be farming that 10 times a day.
yeah, Tomb of Exiles
There's no
sucks
way.
to farm. Tomb of Exiles is meant to... Tomb of Exiles, unfortunately, this is our end game. But this is meant to be like a 1-2 times dungeon where you kind of go through it and experience it. You're like, oh, it's like a long like hallway. Like, I'm sure it's cool the first time to like transfers through the Tomb of Exiles. And it sucks to farm because there's so many hallways. They address this problem eventually later. Tomb of Exiles. If you look at the map, like look at how long this is, right? And they start to address these a lot. So the level 45 dungeons are split into 2. So like you do like 1, 2, and then you cut, and then you do 1, 2. So yeah, you skip this entire like middle part. And then they start to learn. Okay, so to be fair, like some of these dungeons are really, really long still. So I don't blame it. Like Narrow Labyrinth. Oh my god, this dungeon is 10 years long. But if you look at little stuff like cold storage, like I think they're starting to learn where like the dungeon is just you go in and you hit the boss, like that's it, right? Cold storage, Heaven's Mandate. I think most of the end game dungeons end up being you just go in and you hit the boss, right? Just a single arena, and stuff like that. So it's gonna take a little bit. They did make it a lot better in the lower higher dungeon, but yeah, like this dungeon is literally like you do it like once or twice and it's kind of cool, and that's really it. So understandable. Most dungeons used to take ages. Yeah. And then they start cutting it out. They start cutting it out. Especially in Neo, there's no map on these.
It's fresh content for me. I'm a relatively new BNS player. Honestly, very boring to farm that 10 times a day. And I feel like when you are in the honeymoon stage of a game, a brand new game launch, if a player starts feeling like it's already boring and burnt out, that's not good.
True.
This is obviously not
one of the
case
reasons
for
why I
everyone. I'm
wish
sure
they
there's plenty of people
push
that enjoy
content.
doing this dungeon 10 times, but I'm already burnt out of it. Fortunately for the game, though, this changes rather quickly, a week, 2 weeks later. But like I said, this is based off of the first 36 levels.
I feel like that game right now is literally like go download Monster Hunter, finish it in the next week, and come back when it's level 45.
As of now, you know, day 3, I am actually already burnt out. I don't want to farm that. Like I have, as you can see, 52.
Also, it's worse because these gear, you know, you're gonna replace like very fast.
Hong Moon Blessing right here, which means I can farm that dungeon another 6 times. I'm not gonna do it. No, I don't want to do it. Now, with that said, there is a pro to the fact that there isn't too much content. It's not super overwhelming, and that gearing vertically right now, you don't have to be super sweaty. It's actually extremely free to play friendly. You can take advantage of the market right now. You can sell a lot of your stuff. You don't have to go super sweaty. There is no real hard FOMO pressure, you know, making you want to min-max everything simply because you know that 45 is coming out relatively soon. And if it's coming out soon, you don't have to be in the best gear. And I like the fact that right now for the first week, a lot of players, especially free-to-play players, don't feel that pressure of being in min-max gear as fast as they can. It's more about, hey, let's get these drops and maybe make some end coin.
I literally do not care about my gear right now. I'm still running random ass pinchy stuff and green stuff. I literally do not care about my gear right now. Oh, I can. Oh, Mutant Diva! Wait, drop the button for me! Oh no! Help! Wait, help! Do I even have blessings? Oh shit, I have no blessing! Can I get last hit without blessing? It's dead!
gear up ourselves, whatever that may be. I feel like that's in a pretty good place right now. Endgame dungeon experience right now. The last dungeon, I forgot what it was called. Tomb of the Exile. It is very easy mechanically. However, I would say it's just very boring and repetitive by design. Like if the actual design of the dungeon, it's not something that you're like, oh, this is a great experience. I mean, it's fun, but most dungeons are fun the first few times you do it, but after you do it a few times, you're pretty much done with it. Now, with that said, I won't say that it's necessarily a bad dungeon. Again, for the endgame dungeon, that being the endgame dungeon for the first 36 levels and for the first week, I think it's pretty good, not too bad.
I think 1 week,
you know,
if you try harding,
level of the endgame dungeon for level 36 content, when higher level content's going to come out a week or two later, I think that expectation should be a little bit lower. However, I'd be lying to you if I told you that it was fantastic, right? However, I will say this, doing the dungeons are a lot more fun simply because of the combat, which is kind of my next point. The combat in this game is insanely good. Combat is just really, really good. It hard carries the game. And if you can figure out how to get your skills, upgrade your skills, get your green books, whatnot, the combat gets even better. So if you're frustrated in the beginning, it gets better. If you liked it in the beginning, then you're going to really love it once you get all of your skills. A lot of people, you're asking me right now, what's better combat-wise, BDO or BNS? I know for a fact there are a lot of people that think BNS is better. And the fact that it's even in that conversation is a testament to how good it really is. My personal opinion, for an action combat game, I think BNS combat is better. However, or excuse me, BDO combat. I think BDO combat is better. However, for PvE content, I think BNS combat is actually better. To be
I actually also agree with that. I didn't really play a lot of BDO, but BDO biggest selling point is like the PvP raids. In that sense, I think the combat is a lot flashy and a lot cooler. PvE wise, I think like learning the boss pattern, iframing it so you can greet damage, so you can like push to the max. Like instead of running out your red circle, you like just keep hitting the boss and you just like time your resist last seconds. I think that's really fun. And it make it really satisfying, like ding sound and stuff like that. So I actually completely agree with that, based on my limited experience. Although I gotta say, Throne and Liberty combat sucks in my experience. I got to max level in Throne and Liberty and I have no clue what I was doing, and I hated it so much.
I think for PvE raid / dungeon content, BNS combat is better. That's just my personal opinion. But yeah, this game is hard carried by the combat, and once you get your skills, if you do have,
I mean, that's fact,
to get those skills, it's good. It's good, right? It certainly hard carries the game. If the combat was bad in this game would just be trash. Sorry, I mean it's that simple. The next thing that I want to talk about is the guild system. I think the guild system is
the guild system kind of sucks.
Systems that I've ever experienced.
Oh my god, I mean the guild system sucks so much on Neo. Why is it that you have like 10 slot and it doesn't even do anything? Like this clan crafting shit do nothing. And like, in order for your clan to get any benefit, you need to get to level 6, and that give you a 5% discount on absolutely like nothing. This clan system like sucks.
In an MMO, the fact that you can only have 10 people in your guild, there's just no reason for that. I think that's just stupid. I've heard some arguments for it, and every single argument I've heard for it is just bad reasoning, in my opinion. And it costs so much just to upgrade your guild. Like, do you want to upgrade your weapons, or do you want to upgrade the guild? It's just a very bad system, guys. Think about this: 10 people, and it's going to cost you a fortune just to expand it to 15 people per guild.
Yeah,
it's terrible.
I hate that part too.
Thing on my list is the lack of PvP content, obviously. Now, there's actually a decent amount of PvP content in the open world right now just because of the faction. Everyone's kind of new, getting into it. Arenas are not yet in the game. However, NC America made clear that they have or heard the feedback and they are trying to push for it, which is good news, I guess. And there is a 6v6 that's coming out pretty soon. But that not being in the game really sucks too, because this game obviously has a big focus and big following for its PvP, so that needs to be in the game. Yeah, the last thing on my list, when it comes to the monetization, this is absolutely a pay-to-win game. However, for the first 2 days, I went completely free to play, minus the obvious Founders Pack that I did get. Essentially, what I'm saying is I played the first 2 days. I played more like a free-to-play player, which is I get good gear, I sell it for Endcoin, right? Because free-to-play players should be doing that, especially in the first week. Based off of my very short experience, the pay-to-win as of now for this game, systematically, even though it is for sure pay-to-win, the pay-to-win, it's not that bad. And right now, it does seem like it's less pay-to-win than even Throne. And Throne, in my opinion, is the least pay-to-win game for a pay-to-win game from Korea. So that should say a lot, but it's also early. It's too early to tell. But it does seem relatively easy to make. Endcoin, I mean, I made like 2,500 Endcoin the first day, and it wasn't even crazy. My friend Astral, he made 5K Endcoin the first day. People are just juicing Endcoin, and I know that has a lot to do with just week one and whatnot, but there were milestones in place as well in Throne. It just seems pretty easy to make Endcoin. Maybe that changes later on. It got to the point where I started enjoying making Endcoin.
It is pretty fun to make Endcoin,
just
actually,
because of how much cash up currency I was making by playing the game. It kind of felt pretty good as a free-to-play player to make that Endcoin.
Yeah, that feels really good,
guys. And if you are wondering about my gear today,
the last
day I did try.
I think every point he said is pretty fair. I think this game is like is like half a game right now until level 45, maybe even like less. Like, and the fact that they're taking so long to get level 45 really sucks. So I think that's completely fair. I think I'll definitely give it a try again when level 45 come out, because I actually think Poharen it's gonna be a dungeon where people get stuck on. I actually unironically think like Black Ram Supply Chain, it's gonna be a dungeon where people get stuck on. Like, this dungeon is easy if you know what you're doing, but man, this is gonna be something a lot of people get stuck on the first like weeks. And this is like a low level dungeons. Like, people are gonna get hit by this flame tornado thing and they have no clue like to EQ it. People get hit by the vents. Yeah. Pohor might be left. I actually think like so many people is gonna get stuck on this. Oh my god, look, there's the actual mechanics where you have to pull the levers and the vents come out and this prevent you from getting ice. It's like people are you're gonna get so stuck on this. For sure. And I think once you realize what the struggling is like and you have the incentive to improve, then it becomes more fun, you know. Yeah, I can't wait to see how many people get stuck on this, bro. Like, yeah, I mean, that's a pretty fair review. Level 46 really sucks. But overall, the game is purely carried by combat, and the combat like get better and better and better as you unlock more like quality of life as you do the higher level dungeon. So if you like the combat, then I think it's a game to look forward to. As I expected.